Hello, this is Pastor Phil Vickers from First Lutheran Church in Mission Hills, Kansas. We've come to that holiest of all weeks on the Christian calendar again, and as we do so, I'd like to bring you a reading from a book I just can't recommend highly enough. It's called Death on a Friday Afternoon. It's by Richard John Neuhaus, and it's a series of devotions on the last words of Jesus from the cross. We've used this several times here at First Lutheran for our Lenten devotions. I'd like to read you a section of it from about Good Friday. And this is going to reference a story that we're all familiar with, and one of my favorite stories in the Scriptures, which is the story of the prodigal son, which we'll talk about in a minute. He says, "We contemplate for a time the meaning of Good Friday, and then return to what is called the real world of work and shopping and commuter trains and homes. As we come out of a movie theater and shake our heads to clear our minds of another world where we live for a time in suspended disbelief, as we reorient ourselves to reality, so we leave our contemplation. We leave the church building, we close the book where for a time another reality seemed possible, believable, even real. But we tell ourselves the real world is elsewhere. It is the world of deadlines to meet, of appointments to be kept, of taxes to be paid, of children to be educated. From here, from this moment at the cross, it is a distant country. Father, forgive them, for they have forgotten the way home. They have misplaced the real world." Some beautiful words there, and like I said, referencing that story of the prodigal son, who the Bible said after he had squandered his father's inheritance, came to be destitute, and then came to his senses or came to himself, depending on the translation, and returned to the Father. He remembered who he was. He remembered what life was about. And that's what Holy Week is intended to do for us. It's not something that we exit real life to deal with and then come back to reality as we understand it, but rather something that reminds us that reality is bigger than what we usually give it credit for. It's bigger than the minutia that we cram our days, our minds, and our hearts with, but it has to do with God and with this precious death and resurrection which we celebrate this week. So please take time to contemplate the stories that the church brings us for this holiest of weeks, and remember that this is reminding us of what life is truly about and what life is truly important, and we're not meant to leave it behind when it's all over. May God bless you this week. Amen.